On a cold night, Adam was driving along an abandoned mountain road. A sudden storm hit the area. He stopped near an old tunnel, a tunnel that didn't appear on any map. He stepped out, holding a small flashlight, slowly approaching the entrance. The moment he placed his foot inside, he froze. The tunnel was breathing. Warm air flowed from the darkness, as if something massive was moving deep inside. He backed away. Then suddenly, a scream. A child's scream, echoing from within. His heart raced. He rushed inside. The air grew heavier. Each step echoed strangely, like more than one voice was screaming. On the ground, a small toy. He picked it up, lifted his head. Dark, distant figures moved slowly, as if they were waiting. The voice spoke again. "Help me, please." But now, it wasn't from ahead. It came from every direction. He pointed his flashlight behind him. Nothing. In front of him, a stone wall. The path was sealed. Then, a scream, right next to him. So close. He felt its breath on his ear. He trembled. The flashlight flickered, then died. Darkness swallowed him. A whisper followed. "You're too late." Silence. Hours later, police found his car still running outside the tunnel, but Adam was never seen again. Locals say the tunnel still breathes, and every night it calls a new name. As a late-night taxi driver, you see everything, but nothing prepared me for the man who got into my cab at 3 a.m. He was pale, wearing a trench coat, and carried a briefcase. "Just drive," he mumbled, staring straight ahead. I drove for an hour, through empty streets, the silence oppressive. Finally, I asked, "Where am I dropping you off, sir?" He didn't answer. I looked in the rearview mirror. His eyes were open, fixed on me. But something was wrong. They didn't reflect the street lights. They were just flat, black voids. I swallowed hard and sped up. The man suddenly leaned forward, his breath cold against my ear. "You can't drop me off," he hissed. "I never get out." I slammed on the brakes, throwing the car into park, and told him to leave. He just smiled, a wide, unsettling grin. I jumped out of the car, heart pounding, and ran to the back door to physically pull him out, but the back seat was empty. Completely empty. The briefcase was gone too. Shaking, I got back into the driver's seat. As I turned the key, a faint whisper came from the passenger seat beside me. "See? I told you. You can't get rid of me. Just drive." And in the back view mirror, a fleeting reflection of the pale man, strapped into the back seat, staring straight ahead, before he vanished again. My grandfather gave me an old film camera before he died, warning me never to use the final roll of film inside it. Naturally, I couldn't resist. That night, I loaded the camera and took a single photo, a dark, empty corner of my living room. The next day, I had the film developed. The photo showed the same empty corner, but on the wall, someone had scrawled a single word in blood-red paint. "Run." Terrified, I didn't listen. I loaded a new roll of film and took another photo of the corner. This time, when developed, the word was gone. Instead, there was a faint, blurry figure standing right where the scrawl had been. It was tall, impossibly thin, and facing the wall. I panicked, realizing that the original message had been a warning. I took a third photo, praying it would be blank. When the final photo developed, the thin figure was still there, but it was no longer facing the wall. It was turned towards the camera, and its face was a mess of tearing skin and black holes where the eyes should be. But the worst detail was its hand. It was pressed against the imaginary lens, and its mouth was open in a silent scream. A moment later, My grandfather's camera fell from my hand and smashed. I looked at the dark corner of my living room, and I saw a fresh smudge of red paint on the pristine white wall. I bought an antique mirror for the hallway. It was beautiful, framed in tarnished silver, but it had a strange quality. When you looked into it, your reflection was always a half-second behind. It was subtle, just enough to be unsettling. At first I thought it was charming, an old optical illusion, but soon the delay grew. One night I walked past it, and my reflection didn't even turn its head. It stayed fixed on the doorway I had just left. I stood directly in front of it. My reflection looked at me, then slowly it smiled. A wide, horrible smile that I certainly wasn't making. I screamed and covered my face. When I opened my eyes, my reflection was back to normal, looking startled. But then I saw it. A small, fresh scratch on the antique glass, running from the corner of the reflection's eye, as if it had been crying. The next morning, the scratch was still there. I took a cloth to wipe the mirror clean, and as my hand approached the glass, my reflection raised its hand to meet mine. Only this time, it was too fast. It didn't wait. It pressed its palm against the glass, and through the silver sheen, I saw that its fingers were longer, thinner, and wrapped around the edges of the frame. It wasn't my reflection anymore. It was something else. Trapped. And it was watching me. I smashed the mirror that day, but I still see the flash of that smile in every polished surface.